So I'm going to talk some more about spirits, people, because it's important. In Freudian psychology, there is no talk of spirits. Freud didn't believe in anything supernatural. And this was one of the main reasons he fell out with Carl Jung, because Carl Jung was really a mystic. And he had a lot of time for the paranormal, and much of his work was in relation to the paranormal. And so with Jung's archetypes, where there are caricatures of various energy forms, like the knight in shining armour, the wise old man or woman, the jester, all different sorts of, the warrior and the lover, and all these sort of tarot card things, archetypes. And so Jung wrote prolifically on these subjects, but most people have always steered clear from speaking about spirits, but of course it's becoming more prolific these days because everything is becoming more prolific, and all it takes is a few people to start speaking about something and then everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. And so for years I've been saying that there's not one spirit in us, people. But at that time, you see, I was still naive enough to consider that we're all pretty well the same genetically, humanistically, that we all had internal dialogues, and we all could see things or not when we close our eyes in our heads, and a whole array of things which are becoming more and more apparent now. The great diversity of the human being. And of course, in the old days they used to speak about the plebeian, the commoner, the working class, the masses, just as ignorant basically, and they knew or considered little more about them than that. But these days, with the level of science and philosophy and intelligent inquiry, we can discern for ourselves that there are great differences. And so I discerned that there were many spirits partaking in my human sojourn, and I would often reel off at least half a dozen. And then with a little bit of contemplation I could reel off another half a dozen. And for instance, the basic ones are like a spirit of adventure. You need to have a fucking spirit, people, if you're gonna have an adventurous spirit. You can't have an adventurous nothing. He has an adventurous mind. What the fuck's that? It's the spirit that takes you on these journeys. And then when we travel upon journeys like the hero's journey and the dark night of the soul journey, and we delve into the lengths and breadths of what it is to be a human being, we encounter spirits, and a lot of them. And the spirits that possess us, or the spirits that we have a liaison with, we have some sort of reciprocal business with. We do, people. It was the spirit of adventure which enabled me to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, 20,000 feet. It was the spirit of adventure which took me around the world numerous times to over 45 countries, visiting many of them many times, a prolific traveller. And then it was the spirit of the warrior that took me into world-class competitions with my full contact karate sport and all different sorts of things. The spirit of the musician, the spirit of a singer. When we look at people who are good at these things, you go, fuck, there's more than a human being there. When you look at people who are great, you know that there's more than a human being there, right? Jim Carrey is a classic example. He would have multiple spirits. How else does he employ them to create those characters? Those characters are full on other entities. There's no doubt about that. And for those of you that haven't seen the full length and breadth and magnitude of what he can do, then there's something called an audience with Jim Carrey, where he does his stand-up for about an hour, and it's just absolutely incredible. And you just see at least a dozen different characters in him. His whole face changes, his gait changes, personality changes, everything. And so on one level we could say, oh, that guy's genius. On another level we could say he's possessed. But he utilises those spirits that have entered him. Because I think, these spirits could very well be egregores also. Because when we give a certain energy, a lot more energy, then they grow. And for instance, if you were told that there's monsters in the wardrobe when you are 3 years old, and you're told that constantly to make you go to bed and be quiet for, let's say, the next 5 years, well, inside your mind you're going to be building up those words, monster, in the wardrobe. You're going to be building those words up into full-on evil demons, and you're going to be terrified of them, and you're going to create them in your dreams, or you're going to invite them in your dreams. You're going to invite negative energies which could take that shape into your dreams, and then you'll carry the weight of those experiences. And if this goes on deeper, then it will end up in a true full-on obsession and possession. And so we need to be mindful about who we let in. And this is the thing, you see, it's about the whole thing with the devil. The devil being the contestor, the devil being the liar and the conniver, attempting to mislead people. That's how it works, by planting a seed and then seeing if you build on it, see if you give it energy. And if you keep building on it and giving it more and more energy, then that entity that we call the devil will grow more and more within your psyche. And then we've all heard the stories, the devil made me do it. And but if you don't want these possessions to take place, then you have to refute them, and you deny them, and you do not give them energy. You do not let them in. And so therefore, the fortunate thing about this existence is that there appears to be a choice. We can choose to allow Jesus or a particular deity into our hearts, or not. And we can choose to allow nefarious agencies into our hearts and minds, or not. But I'm pretty sure we've all had times when we have diced with the devil. We have allowed certain negative energies to come and play with us because we've considered it a little bit fun, being on the wild side of things. And so you engage with all different sorts of things that you shouldn't. And it could just be lying, deception, any level of dishonesty, being super promiscuous and overindulging in anything and everything. And when we do that, then we are opening gates, and behind those gates are entities which will keep on creeping in. And if you're not mindful when you're doing this sort of stuff, then you won't know when you have a possession or an attachment. So in my book I speak about this in more detail, and I speak about attachments, and I speak about how we pass them on. Even we pass on negative energies during the course of our everyday interaction with people. And for instance, if there is a couple, let's say just a couple, and one comes home from work and picks an argument because he's fuming about this, that and the other, and before this person came home, whether it's the male or female, the other partner was having a nice time doing whatever they're doing. But then an argument pursues, and the person who started it threw negative energy onto the other person. And sometimes it can happen that, for instance, I call it kicking the dog syndrome in the book. If you have your ass kicked at work for failing to produce, and you're pissed off and you're resentful about that, and you don't like carrying the weight of being a loser or not pulling your weight and this, that and the other, and so you don't know how to deal with that, you should look inside you and work out what you're going to do to prevent that from happening. But many people don't know how to do that, so they'll go and meet the next person, and then they'll throw this negative entity, which is clinging to their back metaphorically, onto the chest of the person that they're picking an argument with. And then this person will have this negative energy and want to get rid of it, and so will be verbally violent or physically violent and then throw it back to you. So if you could see with some sort of visionary glasses these dark energies being thrown about from one person to the next, and if a person during the argument says, okay, yeah, forget it, just let it go, it doesn't matter, okay, I forgive you, whatever, then they will lose their negative attachment. If the other person doesn't, then they'll still retain it, and they will carry the weight of that, and they will be wanting to get rid of it at any given opportunity. And so we've all encountered negative people, nasty people with bad energy, yeah? And so these people are carrying these negative energies, and I akin them to like gremlins, these little fictitious caricatures, little gremlins, little pesky, annoying, and often very demonic. And so we can carry these entities. And how do we learn to manage these? Well, first and foremost, we have to become aware of them, and we have to take them seriously. We cannot just brush it off, blow it off as, oh, that's just thoughts in our heads. We all get angry, we all get pissed off, we all do this and we all do that. There's more to it, people. There's a whole lot more to it. There's a whole lot more than Sigmund Freud told you. Carl Jung got a whole lot closer, but other people get even closer. But the closer people get, the more people want to shy away, because they can't bear the thought of that, because it's vastly too overwhelming. It's too scary to consider that we are carrying spiritual energies, actual other entities, which can bring about actions within you that you may want or not want. And so again, we've all done things that we shouldn't have done, and some of the things we've regretted that we've done, and maybe we've paid somewhat of a price. Failed relationships and jobs and all these different sorts of things. But if we have an awareness of what's going on, and we have a relationship with the overlord, with the overseer, which is the main essence of the core of your being, which is I suppose it's the shard of God consciousness. Let's just say it's that. It's benevolent. It's good. It wants to have an earth experience, and so it knows that it needs a relationship with other spirits. And you see, this is why we have the creation of the cosmos via God, but then we have the creation of devils, demons and angels, and all different sorts of spirits like that. Myriad of them. And so people just want to, take it mostly as metaphorical. I'll go this way. In the Bible, because it's too spooky, if they've got to consider that, they could get possessed, and they are possessed, and they've got to keep a constant vigil for entities slipping in and out of us at any given time. But things like this does happen, people. And so how do you keep a level of awareness about it? Well, one of the main things is to have a very deep relationship with your psyche. And to do that, you need to meditate. You need to have moments of peace every single day whereby you can feel. And when you feel, you recognize the energies within you. And you will see from my videos that my energy fluctuates quite a lot. Different characters and different dispositions, depending on what spirit is at the helm at any given time. And the spirits can fluctuate at the drop of a hat. If somebody says something to you don't like, then all of a sudden it's like a multifaceted diamond. You are showing or presenting one facet to the public, but then if you're presented with something that you don't like, then all of a sudden that diamond will switch and there's another facet presented to meet what is being projected onto you. And it may be a defense mechanism, it may be a philosophical, it may be a loving and forgiving. There's a whole different array of spirits within us, of course, if you are a multifaceted spiritual person. But you see, I've spoken a lot about, I've met many people who haven't had any discernible spirits within them. They're just empty and they're just always the same. And people say, you never change, you're so placid, you're so easygoing, or so this and that. Well, there's nothing there. There's nothing to get upset, there's nothing to get excited about. There's just an empty husk being, pulled and pushed around by external energies. And so if these people should get an attachment, then it could mean a lot of things. It could be an alcoholic or a drug abuser, a person abuser, a whole bunch of things. And these people may never question their attachment because they don't have an internal dialogue. They don't have anything to question anything. And so if you look at people and you see how sick they are with their obesity, with their stupidness, they don't do anything ever to educate themselves because there's nothing inside which says to them, I want to educate this facet of me, because there are no facets. There's just an empty void. And so then, these empty voids, well, they're open houses for spirits, and so spirits can go and reside in them. And very often they are malevolent and not benevolent.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't know.
Where do you upload that, Drew?
Where?
Yeah.
To heaven.
Huh?
Heaven.
Ah.
Yeah. You can only view it when you die.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what these dudes would do if they got on my channel? They'd be traumatised. They would. My channel needs a warning sign on it. I already set my videos so they're not for kids. And I suppose, I don't know, what does that mean? Below 15 or something? But, probably there should be an age limit of at least 18. So yeah, there's something to consider about these energies, people, and to consider that we're not all the same. And if you have ever failed to understand why somebody acts in a certain way because they're acting very, very bizarre, and you just can't imagine why they would be acting like that, well, there's lots of reasons. Maybe they are possessed. Maybe they are just completely empty automaton, which just are like ball bearings in a pinball machine. They just bing, bing, bing off, every bumper that they hit against. And so they just have a reaction against, whatever it is. Somebody texts them, do you want to do this, do you want to do that? Then okay, they do or they don't. Something comes on the TV or whatever. They meet somebody. It's all these very, very superficial, non-thought out things that people do in their lives. And then when you look at the run of the mill of people, well, what are they doing? They're just going bump, 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 bump. They go to school, college, university, they come out, they get a job, they get a partner, they get married, they have kids, they rent or buy, they go on a couple of holidays, and that's it. Well, fucking hell, none of that stuff takes any thinking about, does it? It doesn't take thinking about remotely. Once you're in that groove, you're going to do nothing else. And so, for instance, if you come out of school without no qualifications, well, what's your avenues that you have available to you? You go on the job sites and you look for unqualified labour, and you end up being a driver or a burger flipper, and that's your bag, man. If you come out of university with a degree, then there's a channel which you're going to go down, and you probably register with this job agency, and it's going to try to get you a placing in whatever field it is, and that's where you'll be probably for the rest of your lives. And it's only the thinking people that sit and contemplate and ask themselves, fuck, what am I sitting at this dumbass desk for, staring at this dumbass computer in this dumbass office with this dumbass fucking entourage all around me? What the fuck am I doing? This is bullshit. It's a fucking big world out there. I'm going to go and see it. And so that's the variety of person I was. Never, ever, ever following any straight line. Always considering what my options were every time I got to a crossroads. I'd get to a certain place and go, well, what am I going to do from here? I'd meet this person, go, what am I going to do now? I get this job, what am I going to do now? I create this business, what am I going to do now? Just always looking at my options, shifting and thinking and scheming, and creating a myriad of different lives. And so all the places I've been around the world, I've created those. I created where I was working in the outback of Australia on an Aboriginal settlement. I created when I was working in the gold mines in Australia. I created when I was surfing in Bondi Beach. I created when I was being a property entrepreneur in Africa, Bulgaria, and just different sorts of wacky stuff. I thought to myself, that might be cool. I'll have a go at that. So I made a choice and I did it. And so, you know, some people can think and others can't. And for sure, I would think it's the vast majority of my viewers that you don't in actual fact have an internal dialogue. You're not philosophically inclined. You like watching my videos because they give you ideas because you don't have any of your own. Because if you had any of your own, then your mind would be too busy, you know, most of the time. And so, you know, I've always tried to extract something out of my viewers. And it's always been exceedingly difficult. And in the past I used to get highly frustrated thinking, what the fuck is wrong with you motherfuckers? Are you all dead as the fucking dodo? You cat got your fucking tongue? What's wrong with you? I'm just speaking common fucking sense here. Surely you've got an opinion. No, they never had. They're just like that. Like a fucking rabbit in a car's headlights. And I think that's pretty true still today. You know, some of you from time to time say, yeah, what's your email, mate? Yeah, let's have a chat. Nothing ever happens. And even the ones that, you know, so-called friends or associates, it's all talk. Nothing invariably ever happens. And I just go, well, yeah, what's the point? I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I've got all the time in the world, then I would have given this bullshit up a long time ago. It's completely profitless. Very, very little ever comes from it. I mean, even time to time people say, yeah, your videos are really helping me. Well, I just wonder how, you know, I really do. I wonder how. And I wonder whether you ever take anything on board and ever make any changes and ever use the information. Because you can watch YouTube videos forever. But there's come a point, people, when you have to start acting. You start using the information and knowledge that you've learned, and you make changes in your life. And then you can say to yourself, yeah, fuck me, watching all those videos for fucking 5 years really benefited me, because now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing that, and now I'm not afraid to do this, and now I'm, you know, engaged in this, that and the other. If you can see something from it. But if you can't see anything from it, then there's no point, is there? And I think that's, you know, pretty well the case of most people in this world. There's no point. I mean, watch that movie Ants. There's no fucking point to being an ant. You know, even they were smart enough to realise that one. No fucking point to it. Just one ant in one colony of billions and gazillions forever and ever and ever. What's the fucking point? No point. What's the point to being a human being? I don't think there is one. I really don't. Of course we're good at speculating. Oh well, we're learning and we're going to go on and we're going to ascend, and it's all fucking dreams and fantasy, if you ask me. All fantasy, people. And so we can become a little bit disenchanted with any point. The points kind of have a way of shifting goals. They do, the goalposts shift all the time with points. But if you can find a level of acceptance and joy and gratitude in this shitfest, then I suppose that's a bonus. But, you know, there's always going to be more shit to be dodging. It's just a constant dodge of shit, isn't it? Dodging shit here, dodging shit there, dodging shit everywhere. And then, when we are clean of shit from time to time, we can relish that, but we're always a little bit anxious where the next pile of shit is going to be flung from. C'est la vie, people. C'est la vie.